Good. Okay, perfect. Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. And I appreciate everybody coming. And sorry for the a few tech issues at the beginning. So you're only going to see my hands. Hello, welcome. Because it's too hard to mess with the tech. It's too scary. And but I want to welcome everyone who's coming today, who's here. We got a lot of new people here today, sketching with me for the first time ever. And we have some long-time friends of Studio 56. And I just want to welcome everybody. Welcome Leslie and Maripat and Catherine and Annette and Beth, Bridget, Linda, Elizabeth! My friend Elizabeth from Germany. The loveliest Elizabeth I know, really. We had so much fun together in Paris. Hi Elizabeth, so glad that you're here. All right, let's get started. So, a couple of things. You can go to the full screen by clicking the little icon that's in the bottom right corner of your screen. If you want to go full screen and see the image a bit bigger. If you seem to be having a blurry image, that means that the setting on YouTube is at a low resolution. So you click the little gear icon in the bottom right and bump up the resolution to the highest so that you have a clear picture. And yeah, I think that's it. So I'm ready to go. I just want to point out to everyone my newsletter. Here's the link. Oh no, you can't see it. All right. There we go. There's the link. If you are not a subscriber of my newsletter, I would like to encourage you to please subscribe because then you'll be alerted to upcoming free demos like this and free interviews. And I do have some free things to tell you about. I'll just mention Hugo Costa. I'm going to be interviewing Hugo Costa, a fabulous sketcher from Portugal, on Sunday, September 18th at 2 o'clock. And he's going to show lots of examples of his work. And he is so lovely and so fantastic, such an amazing sketcher. You won't want to miss that. If you sign up to the newsletter, you will be alerted. So I'm going to just keep this newsletter link here. Please write it down and sign up to the newsletter. What else to tell you? Oh, I'm also considering doing an online workshop called Funky Pet Portraits, maybe in October or November. It's going to take a while to get that sorted out. And so I'm going to show you how to draw your pet in a fun way, making use of exaggeration. And I'm going to be asking participants to send me pics of their pets. And we'll use the photo of one of the pets of one of the participants as the subject. Don't send me your photos if you're not signing up. It's only for people who are signing up to that online workshop. And all right, so let's get started here with our sketch. I have, as I mentioned, three reference photos. And the reason I have three is because I seem to be missing one. Wait a second. Where did it go? What did I do with that other? Oh, here it is. I have three reference photos. And the reason is because I took this one. This one is nice and crisp and clear. I took the picture when I was there in person in Avignon. Well, it's in Saint-Remy in Provence in April. But the reason it's not so great is because we've got these three people here blocking the view of the front of the building. And so I took this image off of Wikipedia, but it's not so great either because it's blurry. It's not a crisp image. But what I like about it is I like the shadows in this one. And I like the light, that bright light on the tops of the trees. So we're going to be making use of both of them for different reasons. And I'll show you when I'm going to be using one or the other. And we're also going to use this reference photo because I want to include him in the sketch. This is the statue of Van Gogh that's right in front of this building. And you can see it here. You can just see it right there, barely. And so I got, I think this picture, I forget if I took it myself or if it's from Wikipedia. So we're going to put him in our sketch. We're going to make him a little bit bigger right about here. And so I got a photo of him so I can see it a little more clearly. All right, now to start, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be thinking about what I want to include and what I want to exclude in this sketch. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably use this one mostly for the composition of the page, and I'm going to be referring to this nice clear one because I can see the details of it. So in this one here, I'm just going to tell you now, I know I'm not going to use all of this sky, so I'm going to be taking some of this out, like right about here. I'm not going to use this part. And yeah, so it'll be something more like that. That's what I'm looking at for sketching. Just so that you know, that's my plan. All right. So now, let's get going. So I was going to be using my Still and Burn sketchbook with a wonderful paper, and then I opened it up and I realized I don't have any free pages. I'm out. I need to buy a new sketchbook. So I just got a sheet here of hot press paper that I'm going to be using instead. Now to start, let's looking at our image. This part of the building is the chapel, and this part of the building is the asylum. And I want to include the chapel, and the chapel has a peaked roof that ends right about here. So this is the middle of that building, right here, just so that you know. And so in terms of the composition of the page, it's just a little off-center from the middle of this page. Okay? All right, so I'm going to put my center of my building is going to be right about here. Okay, and I'm going to have my tower coming up here. And the edge of the roof goes like that, and then it skips up, up, and across. Okay, and then I'm right here now. The underneath part of the eave is going to be right about here. Let me just see if you can see that. I'm working lightly in pencil. Yeah, I think you can see it. It will become, if you zoom in, it will probably show up a little bit better. Okay. And this tower is probably a little fatter than I said originally, because you can see the side of it. So, okay, so it's going to be something like that. And hope my rolly chair isn't bothering anybody. Okay, that's good. And there's a sort of an edge little on the building here, so we're going to make an edge going across. Another one up here. Tower goes a bit higher. And then you've got the bottom. And then this peak is going to be in the middle. Right, so it's going to be something like this. All right. Right, so that's a good start. And then these two arches, the middle, is going to be right about here. And then you're going to have an arch on either side. So we'll clean it up and make it pretty after we get some basic shapes down. So I don't want to take too long on this. I feel like I know a lot of you have a lot of patience to watch these things, but I want you to be able to get on with your day as well. So we'll just go through this as quickly as we can. And my screen went off. There we go. Okay, so there seems to be the connection between the two buildings is there, and then you've got the side wall of that building there. Okay, that looks good. All right. Okay, so I'm going to make the middle of this building about here. So this is a little bit lower, and there's the middle. And then this piece at the base of of these two pillars is going to be right about there. And it's got a little thing sticking out. and you have 2 pillars there. Okay, and it seems to be sitting on some kind of pedestal, something like that. Okay, and then we have our bush that's going up, and then there's another one over here. Okay, and when you're doing windows, they're all on the same level. They're all level with each other, so you can make a little grid. This is what I do to make sure that they are all the same size. And it's something like this, a little space, and something like that. Okay. And now this rose window that's here, right underneath this peak, right, is going to be right in the middle of the peak, and so is this niche, and so is this door. So if the middle of the peak and is right about here, let's see if that looks right. It might be a little, just looking at the shapes here, got a couple of pillars in there, and then you've got the edge of the door. And the door's about this wide, so that means the middle of the peak is right about here. Okay. And it's going to start to go down from there. And your rose window is going to be, well, you've got this, okay, let's do the door first. Got the door here, and then you've got this ledge above it, something like that. And then you have a niche thing, and I think you can see it more clearly in this one. Yeah, there we go. So the niche is about the width of the door, and then it's got some stuff around it. And then it's got something over top. And then you have this rose window in here. Okay, and then the bottom of the door, a bit taller, something like that. And our bushes are coming in something like this, and then I'm just going to check that angle. So it's just easy to check an angle. Just by going like that. Yeah, I got it right. Okay, so there's that. And now we're going to leave some space here for our statue. But I've got some shapes in there. I'm pretty happy with what I've got so far. I think it's okay. It's looking good. And let me just check and see if there's comments or questions. All right. Everybody is sketching. Hi, Wendy. Can't wait to see you in Venice. Glad you're here. Thank you for coming. And Elizabeth, they're talking to each other. That's so funny. And hi, Jane and Kathy and Lorraine. Thank you so much for coming. And Brenda, good to see you. And Vivian, so great that you're all here. Lorraine from Waterloo. All right, any questions? Everybody good? Everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're sketching with me, not just watching. But, you know, no judgment if you are just watching, that's fine. All right, everybody's good. Hey, from North Carolina. Hi, Wendy. Great that you're here. Okay, we'll keep going. But before I do, let me tell you a little bit about this Asylum, because I thought you might like to know a little bit about it. So Van Gogh is arguably the greatest impressionist painter of all time, in my opinion, and a lot of people share that opinion. His art is immediately recognizable, and he has been a great inspiration for artists for more than 100 years, but he was not successful in his lifetime. He was supported by his brother Theo, and aside from selling his art to his brother, he only sold one painting in his lifetime for 400 francs, which is about 16 pounds, British pounds. And our art experts at the time considered him mad and untalented. It's just crazy, right? But I think it's I think about Van Gogh quite a bit, and I think it's interesting to think about how he thought of himself and the struggles that he had with depression. And, you know, he felt depressed for very good reasons. And he produced more than 2,000 paintings and drawings in just over 10 years. And most of them were during the last 2 years of his life. He pushed the limits of his creativity to mental exhaustion. So his mental health declined a lot in the last couple of years of his life, and the psychotic episodes that he was experiencing led him to voluntarily admit himself to this asylum in Saint Remy in Provence. And it was a psychiatric hospital that was founded in the 19th century in a former Augustine monastery. And it's surrounded by wheat fields and vineyards and olive groves. And when I visited there in April, you can see that it really is a peaceful place. He had a room on the second floor looking into the back of the building and looking down on rows and rows of lavender. And the building, I seem to recall, like I seem to recall when I was there that it was surrounded by, when you walked in along this pathway, to the sides were fields of peach. It was a peach orchard, I think. It might have been olives, but I seem to be remembering peaches. And if you go there if you visit there today, you can still see his room that's kept to the side, set up exactly as it was when he lived there, with a small single bed and a chair and I think there was a little writing desk. So he painted the inside of his room. He painted a fellow patients at the asylum, and he painted the surrounding areas. The irises were painted there, his famous iris painting, and we're going to put these irises in our painting today. And he painted the landscape around, and he stayed there until May 1890, and then he just discharged himself to settle in Auvers-sur-Oise, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It's a small town near Paris. However, he was still deeply depressed and delusional, and he shot himself in the chest with a revolver on July 27th, 1890, just 2 months after he left the asylum. The bullet was deflected by a rib, and so he was not killed immediately. He was able to seek medical care, but he died 2 days later from an infection from the gunshot wound, with his faithful brother Theo by his side. He was only 37. So it's such a, I don't know, to me that story just makes me think about how hard we are on ourselves for our painting and for not getting the kind of recognition that we maybe should have, and how it can impact our mental health, and what a sad situation that he ended up being in, and when in fact he is known around the world, in every country immediately recognizes his art because it's so distinctive and so beautiful. So anyway, that's the story of this asylum, and I was really lucky to have a chance to visit it for a second time this past spring during the Studio 56 Hilltops Villages of Provence workshop. All right, so let's keep going, unless there's some questions. Let's just have a look. So your reference photo, Lori, you should have printed it off or pull it up on a separate tab on your laptop. I sent everybody the reference photo in an email yesterday, I think, and so I'm not going to, I mean really you don't want to be sketching from my reference photo because I'm going to be moving them all around. And throughout, and so you really need to get your own reference photo up there. Any other questions, comments? Yeah. Okay, so let's keep going. I'm going to switch now to the photo of Van Gogh, and this statue was there. It's really beautiful. It's in the front, as I told you, it's sort of hidden in the trees that you can see right here. In this photo, not very clearly, that's why I made another, sent you all a different photo. And he was a very tall guy, And I'm going to put him in my sketch, and I think I'm going to put him right about here. So I'm going to put his feet here, and I'm going to put his head up here. I'm going to move him over just a little. So that's to give me an idea of how tall he's going to be. All right, so let's do that. Let's sketch him right now. So he's very tall. And this is just going to be a stick man basically, because at this moment we'll go back and make it more realistic. I'm just blocking him in now. Okay, and he has his one leg like that, and the other leg is over here. Okay. Okay, got his knee bent. Right, so this is not looking like anything. I'm just putting in the shapes, just blocking it in for now. Okay, he's looking a little stiff, but then on the other hand, he is a statue, and he's holding. Come out a bit more. He's holding a bunch of sunflowers. Alright, something like that, and his hand, and I can put the jacket in, that will help a lot. His jacket's going like that. Maybe he's a bit wider. And his hand is here. And we've got some flowers in his arm. This. I think I made him a little too thin. I went too crazy. I made him too thin. All right. So we're going to put some bushes and trees behind him. And all right, now referring back to this photo, I guess. This one? Let me see. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to put some foliage up here like this, coming across in front of this building, because it's all blocked even more. Something like that. Okay, and he's got this great shrubbery. I love shrubbery. Alright, going with something like that. And then there's some foliage or some green stuff coming down here. Okay, alright, so that's the basic idea. And let me just see if there's questions. Yeah. So I see your comment, Lori, about not being able to see. I understand. You really need to print it off, but I will try. I'm gonna maybe put it like that. I won't be able to keep it like that the whole time, but we'll. All right. So I'm gonna do I'm gonna do these bushes now. So what I see, I'm looking at both back and forth. We're going to sort of do the best of both. And let me see, how should we do this? It's got it's really hard to, I'm right-handed, so I need my, I'm not sure how to help you, Lori. I need my reference photo in my hand on the left. Okay, so we're going to do this boxy shape here, and there's got some irises here. So I'm going to make these irises. I don't know what they are. In the more clear photo, you can see that there was something there, maybe tulips, but here the irises are still in bloom. Here they don't have anything in bloom. But I'm going to make them irises, and I'm going to make them in blue. So there, because I'm allowed to do that. All right, and I love these boxy shapes. That's so fun. And this seems to be something. I'm going to switch back to this one. Okay, there seems to be something else boxy here. Now I'm going to leave this because this is going to be where I put my irises in. So put some irises in here. And I'm going to make this a piece of foliage, a tree up here, and something here, and there seems to be something in here. Okay. All right. Do I need anything more? So let's look at this area up here. All these beautiful decorations up here. And I'm going to just give myself a guideline. And I'm not going to be too picky about it. I'm just going to make some little arches like that. Okay, and then there's like a diamond pattern or something in here. And then there's 6 slots up here, so they're slightly above. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then we've got the arches on the side. Okay, let's see, these are rounded, and framed. Okay, and we have something going like this down here. We're not aiming for photorealism. We're just having fun in our sketch. Okay, I think that's good. There's this niche is here, and it's got a figure which is undoubtedly Mary in here, and standing on some kind of pedestal. And behind this guy's head, you can see that there's pillars on either side. 2 of them. Okay. It's too bad this one is so blurry. Now, what I really want to point out are these gorgeous shadows in here. And they're going to add a lot because, as you can see, we have really a big empty space here. But if we put some shadows in, going right across, that's going to fill the space and it's going to look beautiful. Something like that. And then there's a little one here. That's going to make a big difference. And the other thing I noticed in this photo is this little grate. So I'm going to put this little grate in because it's fun. Look how it's bent. What? This cute little grate is in there. So we'll add that. Oh, and also Van Gogh is standing on some kind of a like a little pedestal thing. And this angle here is going to be more farther aiming out. They're not the same angle is what I'm trying to say, because this one is closer to you. Okay, so make a little, this is a bit more than I did. Like this. Which seems to be also on top of some other kind of pedestal, which I think is right, maybe it's a bit higher. It's hard to see, All right, so it's not the best sketch in pencil, but that's okay because it's just an outline, and we're going to go in now with our pen and really get some details. But first I want to just do a little bush behind him here, and I'm going to put in this birch tree. The birch tree that you can see in this photo. There's a birch tree. I think that adds a lot. That's going to add a lot to put some branches in here, because it's otherwise you have all this foliage. Okay, so all right, good. I'm happy. It's a little lower down than I should have started a little higher up because I've got a lot of space up here and he's quite low to the bottom here. So if I were going to do it again, I should have started the building a little higher up, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's just a sketch. Okay, I'm ready to start with my pen, and I'm going to be using okay, so you're not seeing the bottom, eh? All right, let me just zoom. There, does that help? You seeing the bottom now? Yeah, you're seeing the bottom. Okay. And I'm going to be using, for doing this drawing, I'm going to be using a Le Pen. And I just picked up this pen in New York. New York? Where did I pick up this pen? Yeah, I picked up in New York a few weeks ago when I was there. And this is a small, I was looking to replace my .1 and they didn't have the brand, so I think this is about a 1. It might be a 2. So, all right, so I'm gonna put this here so Lori can see the sketch. All right, let's get started. So, sketching this, let me see, do we have questions? It says, Greta, you're having a hard time seeing it because it's too small and light. So, Greta, can you zoom in? Can you make your click on that icon in the bottom right corner that fills your whole screen with the sketch? That might be helpful for you. All right, let's get sketching. So, this drawing, or sorry, this image has got some wonderful pattern work that we can do in here, so we can think about that in advance. There's a pattern work here, this trim underneath the edge of that eave or whatever that is, and beautiful pattern in here. And we can think about these shapes as just shapes with a pattern in the foliage, and that rather than worrying about what does it look like an actual tree or not. Trees aren't, or bushes aren't usually square unless they're cut that way, and so we're gonna draw them as we see them, but just think about them as a pattern. The texture of it is what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm gonna start with this peak, which I can see that I have drawn probably too high, so I'm gonna make it a little bit lower. And this is where I tell people, look, don't worry about the pencil sketch because it's just a pencil sketch. It's just the start to get it going. If you make a mistake, that's okay. You can go back and fix it because later in the pen stage. And I'm going to draw in these eaves down here. I think it's some kind of eave trough or whatever that probably has a runoff of the water. And connect. And there seems to be 6 little slots here. 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's like some kind of pattern here, which is super cool. Looks like diamonds. I can actually just do it like this. Okay, and then bring the sides down. And then here we have this other kind of eave that's going out, coming a little bit farther from the edge on both sides. And on the outside as well. Like that. And then we have the top of the roof, and we can just use a little jaggedy line. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's made up of tiles. These are terracotta tiles that are so beautiful. Actually, I'm gonna do so beautiful in see them in Europe. Don't really see them in Canada for sure. All right, so I'm going to yeah, we'll continue with this building. So they've got some under eaves here. I just put a few lines to indicate what it is. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're just giving people an impression of what you see. And the side of the building goes down, and we have that again. Some kind of a eve there. I don't know what that is. And that. And then I'm trying to decide, which image should I work with? The one where the windows are closed or the one where they're open? I don't know. What do you guys think? Open or closed? Open or closed? Yes, I'm using a waterproof pen, Abby. Should the windows be open or closed? Okay, I'm not seeing any response, so all right, nobody cares. Should it be open or closed? Closed? Okay, Lorraine, we'll make them closed. First person to respond. All right. What's happening over here? Mary says open. Cindy says closed. Okay, I think closed is winning. Closed is winning. All right, we'll do closed. Thanks for playing along. All right. They're so cute. They're so beautiful and so typical of the windows you see in France. Always they have the blue shutters is really common. So these windows seem to have, is my head blocking, by the way? No, a little bit? Let me know if my head's blocking. My wonderful husband, Dan, is here. Say hi, Dan.
Good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are.
I put him on the spot. My daughter helped last time. She wasn't able to help, so my husband got pressed into service. All right, so these seem to have a bit of a trim around, so we'll draw the trim. So you'll notice that I'm more confident when I'm working with my pen, and that's because all the thinking has already happened when I worked with the pencil. With the pencil, I put in the basic shapes and I kind of worked it out and figured it out. As I said, I'm a little mad at myself that I made everything so far down. I should have gone farther up, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. But once I know where the shapes are, then I'm still I'm not tracing the shapes. Well, I am, but I'm looking back and forth at the reference photo to make sure I got it right. And if I see, like here, that I made a mistake, I made something too steep or too high or too wide or whatever, now is the time that I can fix it in the pen, and because the pencil's all going to be erased. And I feel more confident once I get the pen in my hand. I feel more confident because I've already thought through most of the issues when I was doing the pencil. All right, I'm just going to give a little indication of this roof where it is, and you can see that the roof tiles where I'm standing when I took this picture, I probably would have been standing right over here. The roof tiles are, because of the perspective, the roof tiles are straight here, and then they start to move away. They start to go like this because they are all converging on a vanishing point that's up here somewhere. See how they're all, and then they start angling farther and farther as they move farther away from me. But the first ones are straight, and then they start doing like that because they're all converging on a vanishing point that would be right about there. Right about, no, wait a minute, right about there, right near the point. So that's good to know. And so in my pencil, I'll just show you, we can make our lines. See, we can make our lines. Probably too far apart, but you see what I did there? See that? Okay. So now I'm going to make them in pen, and I'm going to make them a little closer together than what I did in the pencil. And I'm going to start to angle away because they're all converging on a vanishing point. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't matter. It's just a sketch. And you guys are doing great. Now I also noticed that what always you see at the edge of a roof where there's terracotta tiles, you see that you can see the edge of the terracotta tiles. And I'm not going to even try to match this up with these rows because that would be too anal. So just do it like that, and we'll work with that a little bit later. Okay, and yeah, and so this pattern here in the brick, you can just make your lines like this. If you do like this, it'll give you a straight line. I'm not using a ruler, you notice. I'm kind of anti-ruler because it's good for making straight lines if it's important to have a straight line, but if it's not, then don't bother. So you see what I did there? I just made like a little ladder shape, and now we're going to do like this. This is a guide. Yeah, that's pretty straight, but it's not perfect. Okay? And let's have a look at this building. Now, this is blocked here by this foliage, and in this image, it's also blocked a lot by the foliage. And so we're just gonna we're imagining where this rose window is. We know it's there. And we know that the peak of it is going to be right in the middle, right above it. So it's where that meets. So it's going to be right there. So that gives you an idea of how far away that rose window is. And you can see that I made it too close. Yeah, the rose window is really sitting right atop, right on here. So I'm going to make this, let's just take this off. I'm going to make my rose window a little lower. Oops, there goes my pen. This rose window is lower. It's more like that. Maybe I think I made it too big. Do that again, one more time. All right, something like that. And so I'm gonna just make a line for the roof. I'm going to put my rose window in, and it seems to have some kind of a trim around the outside. Okay, and I'm going to start this roof, even though it gets blocked by foliage. I'll just leave it like that. Okay, and now, let's see, there's a piece of roof that goes across like this. I made it in my left hand, and then there's like sort of these, some kind of a, I don't know what you'd call that, there's two pillars. Boy, it's hard to talk and sketch at the same time. Two pillars going down here. And I think they're Corinthian columns. So that it's too small to see, so I'm just gonna do something like that to show that that's a column. And it seems to be sitting on some kind of pedestal. Goes out like this. All right. Now you see how it cleans up, and everything cleans up when you add the pen. It just, and the pencil's like a little sketchier, but once you add the pen, then everything gets cleaned up. There seems to be something in this wall, like some kind of an edge here. I don't know what that is. Too far away to see. All right, so I'm going to make a few lines here. And okay, and then there's something here that's too far away to see. And where's that other? Oh wow, it's really blurry. Okay, so the edge of the, okay, so here's our doorway. Went a little shorter than what I did originally. And then there's the edge of the doorway, and then we have these two pillars that are approximately here. And it's hard to see because that's a blurry photo from Wikipedia, the blurry one, and this one, there's a guy blocking the way. So we do our best, And so I think it's kind of something like that. And then there's something just for this. And then these are like this. I think they're Corinthian columns. So I'm just gonna do a little doodaddy thing like that. And got two pedestals for it here. Okay. And all right, are people having fun? I'm having fun. So relaxing. All right. Now, the door's gonna be back here, but the frame is in front of it slightly, always slightly, right? So we do it like that to show that the door's behind, is pushed back a bit. And the same with this is probably forward, and this is the one behind is probably backwards, back a bit. Okay, so we're getting there. It's taking shape. And up here we have some kind of a niche thing with a statue of Mary. And you notice that I'm taking a lot of shortcuts, and because it doesn't matter. Oh, and she's standing up. Oh, she's much smaller than what I did originally. All right. Let's do this again. So she's up here standing on something. And in this niche. Okay, so she's going to be more like this. Basically, it's going to look just like a cartoon at this point because it's just too far away to see much. And that's okay. As long as we're having fun. That's the goal. Okay. So, yeah, it's just a little opening. And make it quite small. Can't really see much. Something like that. It's just really so small, and it doesn't matter. It's okay. Okay, so there seems to be some kind of decoration in here. And I'm just going to flub it because I don't know what that is. Actually, it comes out a bit farther. So it looks like this. This is what it looks like to me. So it looks like it has some vines on it or something. I don't know. Right. Now the opposite of that, I always have to, let me see, if I go like this, I have to do it, I have to work it out. Because I don't know, I'm ambidextrous. Whatever that takes. Not me. Okay. All right. And then there's something coming down here, which I can't really see. There's two of them, something like that. Ha! Funny. So funny. A few lines in here. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay. We've got some stuff to do up here. We'll get to that. Let's work on Van Gogh now. Okay. How's everyone doing? Everybody okay? Everyone doing okay? Comments? Mary, you know what? I really love sketching the details. I think it's super fun, but when something is far away like this, you just can't. You can't get it in. You have to kind of let it go and just have some fun with it. You're doing a great job. I'm sure you're having a good time doing a great job. And Elizabeth says, hey Dan, great to meet you finally. Elizabeth, you're going to meet him in person one of these days. I'm sure. I really hope so. Okay, I want to give you guys a little more information about things that are coming up. I told you I'm going to do something funky pet portraits workshop sometime in October or November. We'll see. Hugo Costa free interview is Sunday, September 18th at 2 o'clock. Also, Hazel Sohn has recovered from her back injury, and she's going to do a live painting portraits event on Sunday, September 25th. And so you can get your tickets on the website www.studio56boutique.com. I have a few tickets left to Scott Christian Sava's vacation workshop in Venice. It's a small group right now. I have some tickets left. Please join us. We would love it if you could join us. It's this October 3 to 7. It's going to be super fun. We're going to ride the vaporettos with the Adriatic Sea breezes blowing in our hair. We're going to drop and sketch every winged lion we can find, and there's tons of them. And we're going to have a good time in Venice, October 3 to 7. And you're also invited to join me. I'm going back to Mexico, to San Miguel de Allende, which is on everybody's bucket list, to that beautiful mountaintop town in January with Stephanie Bauer. We have some tickets available. And so if you're interested, go to www.studio56boutique.com and click on the pull-down menu called Travel Workshops. And also next June, Quebec City, Canada. I'm going to be so excited to show off the Belle Provence of Quebec, where I was born, and to go there to beautiful Quebec City with Renata La Hall. And we're going to be storming the ramparts and having a lot of fun sketching in Quebec City. And there are tickets available. So, hope you can join me. All right, and maybe I should tell you before I forget that we're planning a vacation workshop with Pat Southern Pierce in Niagara-on-the-Lake next September. And that's going to be super fun as well. Okay, now let's see what we can do about Van Gogh. I'm going to maybe do a bit more pencil because I feel like I haven't got it straight here. And I don't remember from the sketch. It's a little bit hard to see, and I don't remember from the photo if he had a beard, if that's looking like he's supposed to be having a beard. I can't really tell if that's supposed to be a beard on him or not. He has, I don't know, sometimes working with photos, it's just not the same. It's so great when you're there in person because you can get up, you can walk over and have a closer look and see what things are supposed to look like. But when you're working with a photo, I don't know, it's really hard. So he has kind of shape like this. And he had a mustache, Colonel Sanders mustache going on there. And it looks like he had like a goatee. Okay, so making him maybe a little too skinny, a little too neck too long. And this is where you correct it. Okay. I'm so glad, Elizabeth, that you're on this call. I'm thinking about you right now. We had so much fun. Oh my goodness. In Paris. Oh, we had so much fun. It was very hot, and Elizabeth is such a good sport about it all. And Wendy's on this call as well. She was fantastic. We were struggling with heat. My gosh, it was hot. And we had a lot of fun. Wendy and Elizabeth and the whole gang. It's really great. Okay, I feel like I made him too thin. I just really feel like he's too thin. What did I do here? Yeah, I feel like he's too thin. Widen him a bit. He's looking too thin to me. On this side you can't see anything. Alright, and he's got something over his arm here. And then he's got these sunflowers. Well, I think about Van Gogh and I just think, if he only knew, my gosh, how loved he is all over the world. What a shame. What a shame. My gosh. And you know, so great that his brother was so supportive his whole life. It's fantastic. Okay. Alright, and his legs are farther apart than I've got them as well. Move his legs over. So when you're doing feet, you want to make them, if they're facing you, a little bit wider at the toe than you might think. And this one is down front. Okay. And his hand. Wrist is coming out with this thumb. Okay, I'm going to switch to pen because I feel more confident now, because it was looking like, you know, too skinny. So I'm going to switch to my pen, make some decisions here about his hair. He seems to have a big forehead. And a tortured look on his face, of course. Oh, poor guy. Oh, man. And he's got big cheekbones. He looked quite thin guy. And you know, the interesting thing about where he was located is that he's this sanatorium, this asylum, is right next door to the Glanham archaeological site, and Glanham was a Roman town, and they started digging it up in the 1920s. And so I'm not sure if he would have known it, but you could walk to it. It's like in the next property over from this property. And we were visiting there during our Studio 56 workshop in Provence when we were there. We went here first, and then we walked across the way to see Glanham. And I realized, oh my gosh, it was right here. I wonder if he knew about it. Because, I mean, there were, I guess a lot of things were buried, but right in front, right at the, if you walked down this pathway, right in front, across the street from this asylum, is a triumphal arch that's been standing there since Roman times. So he definitely would have seen that. Anyway, I just think that's cool to think about. Sunflowers in his arms. I hope to get back to do this workshop again in the south of France, because it was a spectacular workshop, really. We saw so many things. Oh my goodness. It was really fun, and the weather was perfect for us. In fact, I think we had to wear a jacket one day, just it was a bit cool. We were there in April, and a great group, and beautiful hilltop villages we visited, and we just saw so much. It was really a fun trip, really fun. Okay, so now he has his kind of a sleeve or something going like that. And his hand is coming out. Kind of a rough, I think I'll put it going more like this. Rough statue of him, like the surface of it is very rough, as if, you know, it's, I don't know, it had paint on it or something. I think they're trying to give it that look. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. And let's get his thumb in here. And his hand goes over that. He's holding this big sunflower. The leaf is down here, actually. Big leaf right here. And then the sunflower's coming from behind. It's a very cool statue. So you can't really see the bottom of his jacket here. I don't know. I'm gonna make it up because it feels like where's the what happened to his jacket? Okay, and his legs are a bit apart. His legs are looking very thin. My gosh. How's it going, people? Everybody sketching. All right, and he seems to have like some kind of shoelace or something there. Can't really see. Okay, and he's standing on this thin part of the statue. So I don't know what the statue is made from. I was wondering if it's blue of this color because originally it was copper, and then this is the oxide, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. And we'll put the other pedestal behind. It seems to be thicker than I was guessing it is. There he is, okay, and he's got some kind of wrinkled, it looks like one of those collarless shirts is what he's wearing, is what it looks like to me. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. And, okay, I'm good, I'm happy with that. All right, so I'm gonna put this little grate in. The grate is here. And now let's do our foliage. Actually, let's finish this building. So it's got this some kind of a, no, I gotta switch to the other reference photo because can't really see it. I have a question. Yes, Abby, I am using waterproof pen because I'm gonna put watercolor on top of this. So, okay, I'm gonna just work on this little bit of decoration up here. So I'm not going to count them, but they go something like this. There. And there's like dots or something underneath. I don't know. Okay, and there's a pillar right in the middle. And it's on a little pedestal. And that. I think it's like a Corinthian column situation. And an arch. Another one. It's right down. See ya. Okay. Are you guys having fun? I am having a blast. Okay, and the thing that's so cool that I like is that you can see this little bit of sky through there. That is so cool. Okay, so this pattern is carried on over here. But you can't really see it. And then it looks like there's a couple of arches on this side as well. I'll just put some lines, or maybe some of these openings are there. And then the roof has got tiles that are going across like this. I love freehand drawing. I really do. So fun. And I'm not going to be too picky about these windows. I'm just going to do like this. And it's not perfect, but that's okay. It gives you the idea, you know what it is. And there were shutters. Okay, so I think we're now ready to tackle this shrubbery stuff. And so looking at the foliage, what I'm going to do is make, there's a bit of a tree here, which I totally forgot about him. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll add them later. So, because I've got two different images here, as I said before, I like how the light is hitting the edge of the shrubbery. So I'm gonna paint it like that, and but as I said, I'm gonna draw in these irises. And the shapes are a little bit different too. Here it looks like you've got two rounded shapes that are almost the same size, and here you got a big one, and then you got a smaller one that's not even the same kind of bush. So the point is that we can do it however we want to do it. So I'm going to just do a squiggly line to represent the one, and I'm going to do a slightly different line to represent the other, and I made it smaller, which means I need to carry this across. Okay, and then because it's so far away, you know it's a rough edge, but you really can't see it so well because it's so far away. All right, and I love trim shrubs like this. I love to draw them because you draw them and you go, who would believe that this square thing is a bush? But our eye knows that it's a bush, even though we're drawing it square. Okay. That kind of comes in a bit, this one. I'm just suggesting. Okay, so I'm going to draw these, I think that was tulips. So I'm going to draw some leaves now for the tulips. But I'm going to paint them. I'm making them irises. It'll be the greatest gardening feat of all time. There'll be irises that turned into, tulips that turned into irises. There, so you get an idea that it's something with a leaf like that. Okay, and here, and now here, these leaves, they are different. They're not the same kind of leaf, but they're similar. They seem to be similar, but the thing that's going to make them look like irises is that iris petal that droops down. That's so cool. You can make your petal drooping down. even actually, in truth, you only need to make one look like an iris. And if you paint them the same color, they will they will look like irises. They'll read as irises. I'm going to do that here as well. I seem to have that drooping thing. But they're not always going to be the same, which takes a lot of pressure off when you're drawing them, because you don't have to worry about them being the same, exactly the same or perfect. Okay, there's my irises. Do they look like irises to you guys? Are they reading like irises? They will when the purple gets on. Okay, and this last shrub. So I'm working out with 2 reference photos here. So the last shrub is going to be, it seems to be a round one, a bit of a square one, kind of like that. And maybe I'll just leave it. I won't bother with putting anything in this space. I think that's fine. I like that. Okay, now this big tree. So the tree, I'm looking at my reference photos. One is a flowering tree and the other one is like a birch. So what my plan for painting, just planning ahead, because he's a pretty, it's a kind of a blue color and it's fairly dark, but I'm gonna do it lighter. I'm going to paint him lighter, and I'm going to do this tree quite dark so that he stands out from the tree. That's my plan. And in terms of making it look like a tree, rather than draw every single leaf, what you can do is you can draw a few. Just draw a few. I see clusters in this image here. I see clusters of 3. So you can draw a few. Okay, just like that, and now I'm going to make a squiggly line edge. Okay, and there's a, in this image, you can see this great trimmed shrub back here. So that's my trimmed shrub. And then there's some kind of leafy stuff going on here. So do like that to make it look leafy. Right behind him. And make some leaves up here. And we're going to draw a tree, this tree, which we have in 2 different reference photos. So make it look like a tree, but giving it some kind of texture. It's a birch, so you're not going to, normally in an oak or something like that, you're going to see the foliage go down, up and down, but in birch it often you see like marks that go across. Okay, so I think we're good. I think we're good. I'm happy with that. That was fun. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase all my pencil. And then we'll start painting. Is everybody good? Everybody happy? Any comments, questions? Let's see. Look, Deborah says it looks like he has a goatee. Yeah, I think he might have a goatee. Oh, Elizabeth, you did lots of other travels before, but the one in Paris with Brenda and Ian and all those great and lovely students have been one of the best ever. And she's not paid for saying this. No, she's not. so great. Thank you, Elizabeth. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun. And good. Okay, I think we're ready to go. And yeah, I think we're ready to go. I'm looking. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, so I'm going to erase the pencil marks. And I'm glad Elizabeth is on this call. This is Elizabeth's secret weapon that she shared with me. This is a Faber-Castell kneaded eraser. And I had one in high school years ago. And I never thought I would use it as a sketcher. It seemed like, oh, what a mess. But what Elizabeth taught me is that it's really great because there's no crumbs coming out of it. And you know, I don't know about you, but I often get dirty on the edge of my hand, and you can rub your hand on it and it will clean the pencil marks off your hand. Isn't that great? And so it also, if you get like that smudge onto the edge of your paper, you can just clean it off. Look at this, without having the eraser crumbs. Just cleans off all that stuff. Isn't that great? I love it. And thank you, Elizabeth. We learned a lot from each other. All right. I really enjoyed Elizabeth a lot. And Wendy and Wendy's husband. We had a lot of fun hanging out and exploring. All right. So, once I get the pencil off, to me, I feel like I have drawn like a cartoon. I have a very simple style for a simple-minded girl. Okay, so I've put the pencil on a little heavier than I normally would because I want you guys to be able to see it. But, so if you guys have a secret weapon like Elizabeth's kneaded eraser, you should write me and tell me what your secret weapon is. Okay, and I just want to remind you again, if you are not subscribers to my newsletter, please write down this URL and subscribe. And the reason I'm really urging you to do that is because when I do these free things, it's really hard to get the word out. And sometimes if you're not a subscriber, then it's just kind of luck whether you know about these live events, free events, or paid events, either way, if you don't subscribe. The newsletter comes out once a month, if I'm able. Even once a month is really hard to publish it monthly, so you're not going to get tons of emails from me, I promise you. It'll be once a month, and you will find out there about upcoming free stuff, interviews, and demos, workshops. That's where you'll find it out. So please write down this URL and subscribe to our monthly newsletter. Okay. Oh, there was one more thing coming up that I haven't told you about. What was the one more thing? Maybe I told you about everything in this video. Okay. Seeing any more pencil marks on there? Let's see. I see just the shadow faintly, which is okay. I left that there on purpose. Yeah. Actually, the shadows can come out too. I just wanted to show them. I wanted to point them out to you. But I don't want. When you paint over top of pencil, then the pencil's fixed and you can't erase it after. So unless you want your pencil to show, you really need to make sure you erase it before you put the paint on. All right, I think we're ready to put our paint on. So what I'm going to do is put the paint on, and then I'm going to come back and do a little bit more pen work afterwards, after I put the paint on, after it dries. But it's going to dry pretty quickly, I think. Okay, so paint. Now, let's put my Elizabeth Schumacher kneaded eraser on. Thank you, Elizabeth. I know you're smiling. I can picture your big smile. Okay, I'm putting my Elizabeth kneaded eraser on. I think of you every time I use it. And I'm going to pull out my, this is my sketching kit. I know people like to see other people's sketching kits. I don't know the brand. I ordered it on Amazon. I love it. It says, paint your colors, believe in yourself on the patch. And I love it because it zips up and is completely enclosed. And I have it lies flat so I can see everything. And this is my sketching kit. And that's bird poop. Okay, so let's pull out our watercolors. And I'm going to be using 2 brushes. This one is a Da Vinci #1. Okay, that's a Da Vinci #1. And I'm going to be using my trusty travel brush. It comes out, it fits in the case. I love it. I can't remember if it's Da Vinci or a Skoda. Not sure. I bought it at one of the symposiums. Okay, and I got a little thing of water. So let me see what you can see. Hi Cynthia, so glad that you're here. Thank you for dropping by. Ah, Blue Sky Babe, you didn't use a water resistant pen. That's too bad, I'm sorry. You can try, doing it in a watercolor pencil if you like. Do you know what, Cynthia? Elizabeth says I don't have time to smile, I'm working so hard. That's so funny. I'm also going to mention to Cynthia. Oh, do you know what I think about statues is it's a great way to sketch a person, and they don't move. They just stand there. That's why I love sketching statues. Okay, so I'm going to start right in. I'm looking at this one for color of the building. Okay, and you can see that this is a kind of a very pale yellow with the blue shutters, and that's what you see all over Paris, the pale yellow and the blue shutters. It's really beautiful. The building of the chapel is I think like a marble on the outside or something. Or limestone maybe, I don't know. It's a very similar color to the paint of this stucco building. So it's a very light yellow color. Pale yellow color. So I'm going to be looking at those colors. This is a terracotta roof, and terracotta, as you know, is a very bright brown, reddy brown color. It's not showing through on this photo, and I don't think it's showing through on the other one either. But we don't want to use that really bright terracotta color, even though we know that's what it is, because it'll overwhelm our sketch. So I'm going to go with a pale version of that. And I'm going to use this image for the foliage because I love how the light is reflecting on the edges of the foliage. And maybe I will try the foliage first. The foliage, so the way I like to paint it is I'm going to paint this light yellow. I'll just tell you now so that I can really concentrate when I'm actually doing it. I'm going to paint the whole thing in this light yellow. I think I have like a quin gold here, and it comes up quite light yellow. And then while it's still wet, I'm going to add some of this darker green in there so that it'll blend into each other naturally. That's my plan. And as I said, on this side of the sketch, I'm going to go quite a bit darker so that he stands out. I'm going to make him lighter than the statue is in the photo. I'm going to make him lighter because you can see that, he really is not standing out so much from this foliage that's behind him because he's so dark. So I'm going to make him lighter, make the foliage behind him darker. That's the plan. All right, let's start with the foliage. Let's start with the foliage. Oops. Oh, I forgot to get a piece of, just a minute, piece of paper, Kleenex or something. forgot something. Okay. So I just clean up my palette and put some water down. And then I'm gonna add this, see how bright that is? So I'm gonna put that all over the edges, especially the edges. Tops here. The front and then what I'm going to do is in my palette, I'm going to add a darker green and let them flow, that one flow into the other. Okay. There. I just want to see what you're seeing. You can see the palette, you can see what I'm doing. Okay, good. Yay. And I'm going to come at this in layers, and we'll go back a couple of times to do this foliage. So it's I'm just hoping to leave a little bit of the edge in the yellow. In the yellow. Okay, so it's quite wet, and that's okay. I'm gonna move on and do the this little bush that's behind him here. Actually, it looks like a pretty big bush because it has the yellow on the edge, that really where the sun is hitting it. Okay, and I'm gonna add some, it's quite wet, I might just wait a minute. Put some green in there. So this is, I'm coming at it with layers, so this is a very bright artificial green, but that's okay because I'm going to, actually I'll do the whole thing. I'm gonna come at it again. And I think there's some yellow on this tree that I wanted to capture. So I am aware that this is an artificial green. I know that. That's okay. It won't be looking so artificial when we're finished. And I put some green, this artificial green down here too. So I'm trying to preserve the spot where the purple irises are, because you can't paint on top of it. You won't see the purple. This is experience talking. Okay, so now I'm gonna darken this green quite a lot. I'm gonna add some burnt sienna, make it kind of a khaki color. I'm gonna go back in again and let these colors just flow into each other. Here. And I'm going to put some pen work on top of this as well. Just warning you now. So it will look more like foliage when we're done. You have to be patient. Okay. And we're going to put a tiny bit on this tree, and this bush back here. Ooh, that was fun. Are you guys having fun? I am having fun. Okay, so I think do I want to put a bit more yellow? Maybe I want a bit more of this bright yellow. This queen gold here, because it got right down. Yeah, I'll put a bit more in here. Okay, I'm going to let that dry and try not to mess with it. Meanwhile, I'm going to clean my palette. And let's have a go at this roof, this terracotta roof. So it's a, terracotta is this color. Really, it's that really reddy brown. But I'm going to tone it down with some white because it's a kind of grayed out in the photo. And I think we want it to be grayed out as well, because otherwise it'll be too overwhelming, a super bright color. When we're not dealing with that many bright colors. Yeah. There we go. Okay, and I'm gonna just clean that right off. Actually, you know, I'm gonna leave that. Maybe I'll leave it. I'll use it for this pathway here. I will keep that color. I'll keep it for later. Maybe make it just a paler version of itself. I should have cleaned. If I'd known you were coming, I'd have baked a cake, and I knew you were coming, and I should have cleaned my palette. What's wrong with me? Okay, so we're gonna do this. This roof I think it's a slight blue. I'm talking about this point up here on the tower. Do a slight blue. Maybe I'll do a gray actually. Yeah, this is Payne's gray. I think I'll do a Payne's gray, a very light Payne's gray. And that way it'll bump out, because I know I'm putting in some sky later. And so if I do a light Payne's gray, then it'll stand out against the sky a little bit better. So planning in advance. Okay. All right. So we're waiting for things to dry. As soon as things dry a bit, then we can proceed. So I'm going to clean this off, and I'm gonna make the blue of the shutters. It's a very light blue. And I'm gonna use some white. Yeah. So. I'm gonna have to clean this palette and add some more paints to it now that I think about it, because I'm leaving for Hazel Sohn's San Diego workshop on Friday. I'm leaving. So, good thing I did this demo, otherwise I would have forgotten. I have to clean my palette. Okay, so I'm making a darker, I'm using Payne's Gray, and to darken this, I'm gonna just do this door. I keep painting outside of the lines. Yeah, that's fun. Okay, and the window is, so sometimes I do the windows black, just with black, but other times I like to make a mix of ultramarine blue and black. And it's a real dark navy blue for windows, for glass. That's my secret formula. Now you know all my sketching secrets. Okay, so it's still wet here and here and here, which I have to be really careful since I'm right-handed that I don't mess with that. And this is drying out here quite nicely, but still wet. The green between his legs along the side, still a bit wet there. So while I'm waiting, and this is still a bit wet right there, yeah. So while I'm waiting for that, thinking we could do our sky. So I'm gonna just get some clean water. 1 second. Do our sky because everything else around it is dry, and oh no, that's still wet. Okay, I better not do the sky yet. Your question? The yellow, this yellow that I use on the bushes, I think this is a Quinn Gold right here that I was using. It's a very bright yellow. So, but the yellow that I'm going to be using on the building right here, which I think I can do now because I think it's dry enough, is, just clean this off, is a Naples yellow. And that is this one, which I need to refill. There, it comes up very nicely, nice and pale. I'm just going to go with it. Okay. So, now the side of the building has got, you can see this side here is in shadow. It's also that yellow colored. But you can't really see this yellow. It's not such a bright yellow, in fact, in the photo. And it won't be when we're done, because when this dries, I'm going to go over it again with a layer of, with the shadow. Right over top of it when it dries. And so while we're doing this, I'm going to take this Naples yellow, and or do I want to just leave it white? Yeah, let me think for a second. What I'm doing is looking right now at this area here, which is, it's this very white up in here, but I know that the stone is very similar in color to this, to the paint on the outside of this building. This is stone. And, you know, maybe I'll just leave it white. I'll just leave it white. Yeah, okay. And up here, it's got a, I've added some white to the Naples yellow, and I'm gonna use it up here. I'm not necessarily going to, boy, you lose your train of thought. All right, you know what we can do? Oh, we can maybe do the purple on the irises now. That'll be fun. And I have a purple. Don't ask me the name of it. I don't remember. Where is it? Here it is. But I had to buy a purple. It's probably a Winsor Newton violet or something like that. But I had to buy the color purple because I was mixing it before with red and blue, and it never came out right. So I just went and bought one, and this is actually the perfect purple for these irises. And I'm just gonna dab on some purples. And it's too dark right now. I'm gonna take off some of that, but oh, it's spread over there. That's okay. Fun, 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 fun. Okay. Let's see what we can do. I think we can do this, the statue now, because I can do the statue anyway, because my green around him has dried. So, our statue. Okay, so let me just get this one. And I'm going to do the statue in, see a light turquoise almost underneath there. Oh, that's good. Okay, don't ask me the color, I don't know. So I'm going to do him fairly light, the whole thing one color, and then I'm going to add the shadows after. So, whole thing one color. Flowers, everything. And we'll let that dry, and then we'll go in and add the shadows after. Pedestal that he's standing on. Okay. Now what can we do? We have to wait for it to dry a bit, which we can do. So it's almost dry there. I'm gonna risk it and do this. Oh no, I can't because of his leg. Yes, I can. I will just be careful. And as I said, I'm going to do it in this same color that I used up here, only it's a lot more watered down. Oh, I'm mixing green in by accident. Do that again. Alright, and when this dries, I will add the shadows from the bushes on top. And that's going to break up this big space. he's standing on a pedestal. It's the same color as the pathway. And it's bleeding, but that's okay. Okay, so how are we doing for dryness here? Still. Okay, well while I'm waiting, I'm gonna do some pen work then, up here on the roof. Okay, and just show the end of the roof. You can see the end of the terracotta tiles, like that. Be careful not to touch it because it's still wet. And I'm going to blacken in these little slits for windows. Okay. And this roof, is this still wet? I can't see. Yeah, it is still wet. There we go. I just knocked it. It's okay. I'm just going to put in a couple of lines. There's always like trims and edges and so on in roof lines like this. So I just put a bunch of, I don't worry about figuring out if I'm doing it exactly right. I just put a bunch of lines in there to show that it's the underneath part. All right, so what can we do? Oh, see, that absorbed pretty quickly. That's dry already. Okay, so now I'm going to take a smaller paintbrush that I just had here, and I'm going to add some black to this light turquoise. These two. And it kind of comes up almost purple. I'm going to put in some shadow with this on the statue. And some shadow down the side, and there. And I'm going to put some, do some line work on top of this. So I'm not too worried about it. And under his foot there. And down the side of his leg. His pants, quite dark. Getting some shadows in here in the neck and some of these folds quite dark. And his eyes. And his cheeks. So we'll go in after a minute to add some more line work to this after this dries. Darken here. I'm just letting the pigment get sucked off my paintbrush. Okay, good with that. This front edge. Are you guys having fun? I don't know about you, but I am having a blast sketching this today. I hope you are too. So it looks sort of a little patchy right now, but it won't when we're done, because we're gonna go in and put a little bit more detail with our pen work, and we'll tie it all together. And the same with the foliage back here. We're gonna go back in later. And in fact, we can go back in now, I think, and do some of this foliage. This no way. Or not, or instead, I'm going to do the sky. I'm going to use an ultramarine blue and just watered down, pretty much pure ultramarine blue. So in the picture, it's like I'm seeing a bit of a greenier blue. Well, and maybe it's the ink on my printer as well, in the sky. In both of them. It's funny, the sky color's similar from the Wikipedia photo and the photo I took. This clear blue sky. It really was gorgeous, gorgeous weather when we were there. But I'm going to use this ultramarine blue watered down. And actually first I'm going to put some water on the top. And the reason I'm doing that is so that it will flow. Just get it wet. Actually, just get it a bit wet. So we know that it's a bit damp there. Okay, now I'm gonna, because I want it to be a bit darker on the bottom, is what is my point, why I'm doing that. At the bottom of the sky, like in this area. And then to fade off. So that's why I put a bit of water at the top of the sky. So it'll fade off into the top. Okay. I'm going to put a bit more blue at the bottom. Let's just see how this flows, or if it's going to need some help for me. I don't want it to look, I don't want to see, you know, you don't really want to see it paint strokes, paintbrush strokes, unless that's what you really want to see. And the one spot we can't forget, which is super important, is right here, where the sky is popping through. See how it's darker there? Yeah, I want to darken that up down here as well. So I'm just dabbing to let the pigment get pulled off the paintbrush. And then you can see it's fading away as it goes up. And another thing you can do is you can tilt the paper, but I can't. I don't have the luxury to tilt the paper because I taped it down. And the reason I taped it down today is because I didn't want I wanted the camera to not get messed up and have to readjust it. So I'm just going to take a bit of this blue out there, because I wanted to match the blue of the sky. It was a bit too dark. All right, and this is really pooling here. Just lift some off. So lift a tiny bit off. There, that's better. So I lifted it off with a paintbrush that I have dried. This is pooling a bit too much, and I would normally just tilt my paper, but I can't, as I said, because I taped it down. All right, let's see if there's questions, comments. How are we doing? Cynthia, thanks for your comments about the paint color. Let's see. Oh, Francine never thought to use white. I use white. There's no reason why not to use white. And thanks for your comments, everybody. The paint makes such a difference. Yeah, it does. Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to add this shadow. There's in this image, the one I took when I was there, there's a really strong shadow going straight across and a little bit here. And I'm going to add that now, and that is going to make all the difference. So I'm going to do that using this ultramarine. That's too dark. With I'm going to just add a bit of the Payne's, I'm going to add a bit of black. And you get a kind of purpley color. There you go. And I'm going to put this shadow right down. I'm going to put it right down the side here, but I'm going to have to wait till the sky dries now. But what I see is a little triangle of shadow right there. Do you see that in this image? There's a little triangle right there, and a little bit beside this pillar. And then we have a straight line going right up like that. Oh, I came too close to that bit. That's okay. And then this whole thing is in shadow. Okay, and including the side of this building. I'm going right over top and underneath, right across like this. I think adding the shadows adds so much to the sketch. Really, you don't want to forget the shadows. Okay, that looks pretty cool. When it dries, it's going to look really cool. Okay, so I'm going to just make this shadow up a little bit more of this, which is ultramarine blue. Too much. Add a bit of black. Come on. Okay. In a kind of navy blue, and now I'm going to add that shadow going right across here. And I'm looking closely at my picture. You can see that there's some right in front like this. And there's a bit here, and then it goes right across. It's got an edge to it. You can see that there's like little things sticking out. So really this is the shadow of the bush, which is a tree, which has got bits sticking out. So give it a rough edge going across. look at the shadow there. Isn't that fantastic? So let's take advantage because it's going to look spectacular. These little dots and everything of shadow, just look at that. Is that not cool? I think that's very cool. Alright, and the grasses. That's pretty cool. I like it. I'm really happy about that. Floating dots of shadow. Okay, so now I'm going to use this shadow to darken up behind the statue of Van Gogh. Now that is really a lot, but I might need a lot, so I'll mix a lot. More blue. So that is quite dark. All right, there, that's good. Now I'm going to use this as a shadow right on top of the trees, right on top of these bushes back here. And I'm not going to use solid, I'm not going to paint solid shapes. As you can see, I'm just dabbing in a bit. And you can even use it in between here. I'm going to use a lot of this. That's why I mixed a big puddle of it in my palette. I'm going to use a lot back here. And this is going to add a lot to the sketch. A lot of depth and drama. Okay. And in here, there's quite a lot. I'm using this one for the shadows. This image with the one that sorry, no, this is the one from the Wikipedia. And that light and dark, the light, that yellow that we used here, in front of this dark shadow is going to add a lot. And right down here, oh, it's too much on me. Okay, so I got it pooling a bit. I'm going to just take some off. A little bit here off where it's pooling because the paper has curled. And it's going to flow all towards the edge so if I don't take some of it off. Okay. I'm happy with that. And we're going to draw on top of that. I'm just going to mix up quite a bit more for the shadows behind him. So I'm going to be fairly dabby here, and that's okay because it's going to make sense later when we put some pen work on top of it. Okay, I like it. I'm going to put a bit of shadow in front. I have to mix a bit more. front of, at the base of the foliage that's behind him. And I think I went a little too dark, too much. Take some off. There we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. Oh, and I forgot, I want to do right down this side of this tree. Okay, so now you can see that he's really popping out from the tree that's behind him. Okay, well, I don't know about you, but my paper is quite wet. It's really quite wet. Okay, I'm going to use some Tombos. Ian Fennelly got me onto these. This is an N79. It's a brownish gray. I'm going to use it because this is a brownish color. I'm going to use it in here. And this will going to pop it out a bit. And this is really good for these kinds of buildings in Europe that are made out of limestone, because it's just a darker shade of the limestone that it's made out of. Come in here, and this is kind of a shortcut too, because I mean, I think shadow looks great in when you do it in watercolor, but sometimes you don't have time. You don't want to be that picky about it. So it works well to do it with a Tombow, I find. Okay, and that's going to make that pop out a bit. Where's my other image? Oh yeah, okay. So I'm going to do in behind her, and with this N79 Tombow, and underneath here, so you can really quickly get things done if you're using these Tombos. Okay, and here, and behind the two pillars, make the pillars stand out. See how quick that worked? And we're gonna take the edges here. Alright, I'm happy with that. So now we're just waiting for the trees and all this to dry. And I'm going to take my pen and do what I can while I'm still waiting here. I realized I didn't carry this line down. And, oh, I got a lot done already. Okay, well, I might have to get a blow dryer. Let's see, I can do a bit on him. Alright, I'll work a bit on him. So there's this leaf, and another leaf here, and some of these leaves. Okay. How's everybody doing? Are you doing okay? Okay, well, I think I'm gonna just leave that. And I'm gonna have to get a blow dryer. Sorry, guys. But this is really wet. There's not much more I can do. Oh, I know what I can do is I can work a little bit on putting some of the stones in that are here. So I'm just gonna do some light dots to show that it's that there's some texture here to some texture to the ground, to the surface of the ground. I'm just putting some very light dots in. I'm going to put a couple of little stones, a couple more stones. Okay, and I'm going to use this Tombow on top of this grate. And I'm going to color in the edges darker, the spaces darker. I'm going to have to get a magnifying glass because my glasses are not strong enough to see this. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, up here, yeah. All this. So this is, behind here it needs to be black, and I'm gonna just use a black Tombow to get the job done quickly. And if you don't have a black Tombow, you could use a thicker fine liner, thicker, fatter nibbed fine liner, just to get it done quick. There, that makes all the difference. All right, now let me look at the details. What is missing? Oh, I see. So, okay, I'm gonna put a little shadow here on the inside of this decoration on the building. That makes it pop out. Okay, so I want to work on this foliage, but I got a wet puddle right here. And the rest is pretty dry. Okay, so I'm gonna just try to avoid this little puddle that's right here and keep going. So I'm gonna use just some scribbly things like this. And I'm not going to try to sketch every leaf, but just to give an impression. Especially here because it's really close to the viewer. And I'm going to do like this to give some volume to the front of this shrubbery. A little bit on the top. Okay. And here, just do some dots. And in here, I'll do some things. And we are almost done. Okay, and then here, just do a little bit. Okay, so that's good for here, and then over here, we're just gonna take advantage. So you can see some blobs of color here. Let's just make that something. think that kind of gives the idea. Leaves in here. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of shadow on this statue, a little bit more shadow. And I'm using a Tombow. It's kind of a purpley color. No, but even I'm seeing purple in the color of the statue. But maybe it's just the way my printer worked. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to use a fatter pen around the outside of him because I don't think he's standing out as well as I had intended. So this is a Faber-Castell Fine. Let's just see. Oh man, I am having so much fun. Don't want it to end, but I think we are. We're almost there. Yeah, I think we're almost there. All right. All right, people. I think we are there. So I hope that you had fun today. And is there something I'm missing from this sketch that I didn't do? Let me know. What's missing? If I were on site, Vivian, how much time would I allot for the sketch? I would probably take me a couple of hours. Yeah, for sure. Probably as long as it took us today. Yeah. I mean, we were talking quite a bit, and so if I weren't talking, maybe I could do it in an hour and a half. I think that's probably about right. And shadow on the statue to the ground to the left. Yes, that is an excellent point. Thank you. Now, we don't see it in the photo, but you're right, it should be there. Thank you. So it's going to be something like that. And here too. And here too. And here too. So, and you know, maybe likely at the front here too. Thank you, Vivian, for pointing that out. Anything else that's missing that we haven't done? I don't think so. Does it strike anybody that something's missing? Yeah. Thanks, Vivian and Jane, for mentioning about the shadow for the statue. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I think that's it for today. As I mentioned, we have some fun things coming up that I hope that you will join me. I'm thinking of doing a Funky Pets Portrait online workshop in the next month or so. And Hugo Costa, I'm going to be interviewing him on September 18th at 2 o'clock. I hope you can come for that free interview, and I'm going to be looking at lots of his sketches. Please sign up for the newsletter because it's really hard for me to remember each one of you and email you individually. And this comes out once a month. Scott Christian Sava is going to be with me in Venice. Please join me. I have a few tickets left, October 3 to 7. Stephanie Bauer, San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, this January. Be there or be cold. Because I won't be, but you will be if you don't come. And Quebec City in June is the most beautiful time of the year to visit the beautiful city of Quebec. Quebec City with Renato La Hall. This June I have tickets. Love it if you could come. Please post your sketch. Please scan and post your sketch with the hashtag Studio56Boutique. I would love to see your sketches. And thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. It was super fun for me. I hope you had fun too. Have a fabulous Sunday. Happy sketching. But thank you to all the new people who came. Goodbye to all the old people who came. To my people that I've traveled with. And thanks to so many of you who've been great supporters of Studio 56 since we launched in November 2018. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye for now. And my husband says bye. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.